Welcome to another edition of Through My Lens. I'm your host, Karen Jackson. And Through My Lens podcast is an opportunity for us to sit down and learn from individuals who have not let their setbacks or their circumstances define who they are and what they can accomplish. And I'm so excited today to kick off our seventh season. I can't believe I'm saying that. But yes, it has been 7 seasons that I have been doing this podcast. And I honestly took a little hiatus for a little while. I've been dealing with a lot of deaths in my family and a lot of loss. And so it just took me a little time to get back in focus. And I'm so excited to kick off this season in honor of my brother and my sister-in-law. I call her my sister-in-law. Um, Mr. and Mrs. John and Shelley Wallace. They both passed away in 2021, and it actually sent me on an emotional and spiritual roller coaster. But I will tell you, when God is good, God is good. And out of that, I spent time writing and doing the things that I felt like God speaking, doing the things that God had called me to do. And so now I'm excited. I'm getting ready to launch a 7-day devotional that is really it came from some of those dark spaces that I experienced during this time. And so God told me it was time to share it with others. I realized during this journey that I'm not alone and there's other people as well. And so I'm just hoping that that's just a small piece to get other people to get back in life because our loved ones would not have wanted us to stop living and stop dreaming. And so I am really excited to kick off this season. It is called Strength for the Struggle. And so, what you will meet throughout this year is individuals who are doing just that. They are finding strength in their struggles and learning how to survive and continuing to thrive and do the things that God has called them to do. And so, my special guest today, I'm excited to have her here, Mrs. Karol Brown. I actually met her a year ago and was received some information, and I was like, oh my God, I have to bring her on the show to talk and to share with our audience about what she's doing and how she's impacting the world and the community. So thank you so much, Mrs. Brown, for being a part of the conversation.
Thank you, Karen. I'm so happy that you connected with me and that we could share our own stories of overcoming adversity. I totally appreciate that you stepping forward and sharing what God has put on your heart.
Thank you, thank you. And so, first of all, before we even get started to talk about what God has put on your heart to do and change the lives of women and girls throughout the world, talk to me a little bit about who is Karol Brown.
Okay. I am a Daytonian as far as born and raised there, but James, my husband, and I moved our family of 3 children to Washington State around Seattle area in 87. And that was a great move for us. The kids flourished, and I joined working with the VA hospital in the Seattle, Tacoma, Washington area. And I spent 30 years. Can you believe somebody working someplace 30 years? So I spent 30 years as a dietitian and a coordinator for weight loss program. I also was on the Equal Opportunity Committee where I functioned as the women's coordinator at one point, and then the African American employees coordinator, which gave me the opportunity to put wonderful programs together, like for Black History Month, MLK Day, Women's History Month, Women's Equality Day. And that's something I've always enjoyed doing, is putting together events and programs.
Okay.
I was also involved in Toastmasters early on and have been for a long time. And during that time, planning a Black History Month program, I watched Cicely Tyson portray Harriet Tubman in A Woman Called Moses. At the
Mm,
same time, doing storytelling in Toastmasters. And she just sparked my interest. I started researching Harriet Tubman, and then I decided to put together a storytelling presentation as Harriet Tubman,
Mm.
sharing history and things that people really don't know about her, like the fact that she lived to be 93 years old. Most people only know about the little part of her life on the Underground Railroad. So that's what I've been doing. I also, in the community in Tacoma, organize health days, health awareness day, during October and September to bring the breast cancer awareness message to the African American community. So we did that with my committee and my church for 10 years. And we brought many women through the door, and I have gotten stories of people that found out on that day when they got their free mammogram that they did have some cancer and that could have saved their life. And so that was a blessing. So
Absolutely.
all that was great. And then I moved back to Dayton, and things started to change. About 8 years ago now, just my husband and I came back. And I don't know what happened, but he became abusive. He became physical and mentally abusive. And then this was something I dealt with alone because I was sharing it with nobody. And it came to a point that eventually my mother started living with us. She was 99 at the time. She's 101 now. Uh, but it came to a point where I was losing my joy. I was losing my self. And with the mother there, I just had to leave. I had to end my marriage. So that was like 2 years ago. So I left my husband, and relationship back and forth for a while. But finally, this year, this has been a interesting year for me. First of all, our oldest daughter, Adia, had a bout with cancer about 6 or 7 years ago, and it came back during the pandemic time. And so we lost her in February. And James and I had been separated for all this time. Our divorce was final in March. We sold our house, and I was helping James. I was still always there for him. We were separated, but mentally and spiritually we're still connected.
Okay.
So in June, I helped him move out the big house we had into an apartment, and then shortly after that, he passed away. So this has been a tough year, but God has kept me going with my opportunity to continue to share my passion of teaching our girls, all girls, not just the young girls, but all of us ladies, how to um, love ourselves better. Because I realized when I wrote my book, it's the Harriet Tubman Way, an inspirational guide to self love, empowerment, and legendary leadership for girls. I
Mhm.
wrote this during the time that I was separated. And then when I reread it during this rough years, I realized I wrote it for myself as well because only self love, I feel like, is what Harriet Tubman had to help her feel the strength, the determination to, to strive to do better for herself. And that is what told me it was time for me to get out of that relationship and be my true voice and self, and live in freedom. And so, yeah, that's what I'm striving to do. That's my passion that the Lord has put on my heart, is to bring love into the world, more love into the world, starting with self love. Starting
Absolutely.
with self love.
Absolutely. That's a great message because you can't love anyone else if you don't love yourself adequately.
Exactly.
You just can't. I
Exactly.
want to go back a little bit and talk to you, talk about. I was like, oh my God, there's so much we can unpack. We're gonna have to get you back before another time. But
Okay.
it's interesting that this is, Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well.
That is.
Um, and so I wanted to just ask you, talk to me a little bit about when you found yourself in that dark space. Um, what inside you gave you the strength to, like you said, embrace that freedom, to embrace your self love?
But it wasn't easy. Like this went on for, let's see, 7 to 8 years. It wasn't that our marriage was perfect ahead of time, before then. It was occasional fights throughout the year, but nothing that made me feel unsafe in my relationship with my husband anymore. And so I did actually leave, go to hotels on several occasions, always being talked back, a pattern of us having to really find the strength to actually leave. And it was God. It was praying and meditating and just continuing trying to connect inside with my spirit and finding the strength to go. And so that one night we were having a good day going, I thought, and watching a movie together at night in the bedroom with TV. And he went to the restroom and came back. It was all different. It was all, you know, why'd you do this? Blah, 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 blah. And I had a safe space in my house where I could go and lock the door. And then that night I just was, it was late July 22. And I was just praying and crying. And I heard the voice say, get out, get out. It's time to get out. And that time I listened. And next day I told him I was leaving. Took a few weeks to happen, but when my mother and I were in the car driving away, oh, Karen, I felt so light. I knew what Harriet Tubman felt like to be free for the first time. It was like, it was just uplifting. It felt so much lighter.
That is just awesome. And it's amazing. I know when I found myself going through some dark spaces, which you said, like praying and meditating and really spending time with God, really kind of helps you better understand your feelings,
Yes,
and then what you're feeling, right? And then how you need to take care of those feelings.
yes,
So I love the fact that you, and isn't it interesting how God always, during those broken times in our lives, He always brings us back to this healed space, freedom, where we then can go and share our stories and tell the dark spaces in such a way that it's not the same. It's in a way like, I read a quote that said that sometimes us telling our stories is really someone else's prescription for healing.
oh, I love that. Yeah, beautiful.
And I think that's part of, because I think it's no coincidence that you went through that, and now here a part of your mission is reaching young girls, right?
Yes,
All girls, right?
all
Um,
girl.
yes, absolutely. And I think that's so important. I had read a study before that said by the age of 9, most girls have already started to define their self image, their self worth. And so when you think about that at 9 years old, there's so much more life to live.
Hmm.
So talk to me a little bit about Girls United by Love. I'm sure that, it was that 9-year-old girl, something inside of that 9-year-old girl that said, it's time for us to make a difference.
Yes, well, that's why I want people to remind themselves of, we were all once innocent little children that we would just hug and love, and that spirit is still inside of us. So we just have to go back and embrace that. But last year, when I was launching my book on teaching self love, I wanted to do it in a way that really um, highlighted self love. And Girls United by Girls United by Love was launched with my committee from Dayton. It's in Dayton, Ohio, and you met the committee. By the way, my niece Ocean, she designed this beautiful T-shirt for us, which is Girls United by Love. And
That is awesome.
yeah, and to support her, when people buy this T-shirt, she's going to receive $5 going towards her college fund. So we want to put that out there. But the whole idea that I found a way. My book was actually launched on Women's Equality Day, but I wanted an event. So I found out about the International Day of the Girl Child, which is October 11th. And so we decided to use that wonderful opportunity to bring girls together to talk about self love. And Karen, just the thought of a room full of girls, and we're doing a virtual webinar, which is international. Just imagine a Zoom room full of girls all talking about love, self love. And we have moms and grandmas and aunties, girls of all ages coming together to help each other find that self love and how we can share that with the world. And so I see, like to say, the man in the mirror, we got to start with yourself. Like you're saying, you can't
Amen.
love anyone else until you love yourself.
Hmm.
And so I have been blessed to be connected with some beautiful women who are going to be speaking about different topics on our event coming up, and looking forward to it. It's just going to be a full day of love, talking about love.
That's great. And I'm sure if it's anything like it was last year, it will be awesome. It was just a great experience to, be in a room with other, like you said, young women of all ages, some old, some younger, and just to be able to talk and share with one another was a great experience. So
Yeah,
talk to me a little bit. So this year your event is taking place this Saturday, October the 7th, correct?
yes.
And so tell me a little bit. It starts at 2 o'clock. Is that correct?
So it starts at 2 o'clock Eastern time, okay, 11 o'clock Pacific time, and it is a 3 hour event. We are going to start right off with some laughter aerobics. We're just getting people in the spirit of feeling joyful, and we're going to have some music involved in there. We have a brush up on etiquette. Those people in Dayton, Ohio, probably know Carol Pruitt, who's going to be giving us some tips on being elegant and etiquette. And that sound great.
Yes.
We have, we're going to talk about affirmations. I have Lorena Belcher, who's my co host. She's teaching affirmations. We're going to do a breakout session to really actually get to say hello. And we have representative from Australia. Yes, Narissa Trinidad. She's going to give us a little overview of the International Day of the Girl Child from a different perspective, not just us here in the United States. I have speakers from Canada talking about the law of attraction. That's Zara Mahone. I have Dr. Colette Wayne, who is an environmentalist. She's going to talk about the importance of loving nature as well. We all need to keep that in mind. Oni Lasana, she is a storyteller. She's also been one who's been helpful in the Dayton area, keeping Dunbar alive. She's very active in doing that. And we're going to have opportunity to teach how you take that vision and you put it on a vision board and make that dream come true. So Christina Mendez from Dayton area is going to share that. And then we're going to do a session on mastering the dating game. Yeah, this is a Atiera Gordon, and and it's not just for the older women. It's for us for the younger women to be thinking about what's important to them and how to select someone who's going to respect them and give them the love and treatment that they deserve. Because one of the statistics that are out there, the reason the International Day of the Girl Child is they available and highlighted by the United Nations, by the way, it's an international thing, is the plight of girls around the world that are, you know, too many young teenagers have been physically abused. And in other countries, girls are married off very, very young. And so there are really many reasons for us to make this awareness about the plight of girls and women around the world and make sure that we here who are fortunate to be, living as we do, we keep our other sisters in our prayers, and knowing that not all of us are uh, as happy as we might come across. We all need each other. We all need to have the compassion, the self love, the safe space, and safe space as far as not being judgmental to each other, not having the repercussions of what somebody might have done before, and just having unconditional love. So this is the message for this event.
And that is just so awesome because I think, you know, when you really want to get in a space of true freedom, it is important who your circle of influence is and who you surround yourself with, that support circle. And
Yeah,
if you feel that, you have to always live up to this image and not really be yourself and say, I think one thing for sure, COVID taught me it's okay to not be okay sometimes. You
yeah,
know, and we often, and it's okay to say we're not okay, and it doesn't mean that we can't get back up, right, and make a difference. But it's just sometimes we have to take the time we need to do the work that we need to do so that we can continue to pour into other people as well as being poured into.
right, right. Yes, agree.
I love that. I love that. And I think it's so important. Is that a particular reason why you wanted to kind of always focus on the International Day of the Girl?
Well, once I discovered it last year. Looking for a great um, girl centered opportunity to share my book. My book is a curriculum. It's small, short chapters of me telling stories as Harriet Tubman, and I also have a Tuesday Harriet Tubman Tuesday talk where I actually show a little video clip of me presenting as Harriet Tubman, and then talking about each chapter in the book and what we're learning from that. The first chapter is Love Yourself First. And
Hmm.
so I just felt like this is a great opportunity that I want to help make more recognized in this country, and that we continue to support women in other places as well, because we're all one. When we start loving ourselves, that just helps to and we had that gratitude. I was just in my meditation today. I was talking about gratitude, and how gratitude, when you have gratitude for others and anything around you, it just changes your whole chemistry, and your life improves along with it. And so to teach those concepts early on, I think as our young ladies grow up, and with us older, mature ladies guiding them and sharing our stories and our challenges and showing them the way forward, and we're gonna help the world all around now.
I agree. I agree. And it sounds like you reached every topic you could possibly think of, from self love to nature, I think you said something about laugh and how to laugh in there as
Yes,
well, which is
yes,
so, so important.
yes,
To really stay in that space. We have to learn to laugh and even laugh at ourselves, right? Uh,
yes,
and not take ourselves so seriously. So
yes,
you talked about, what you want people to, what they can experience as a part of this opportunity. Talk to us about what is the one thing you would want the young women that participate in your October 7th virtual event. What would be the one thing you would want them to take away and to take action?
that I am worthy, that I deserve to have all the best in the world. And it starts with me appreciating who I am, that I do need to love myself, and finding ways to massage that, So continuing to um, be educated positively, to take what we've given as a opening. Some of the young ladies may be already connected with mentors, or have the parent that can guide them. One thing about having the mothers and aunties and grandmothers there, we need to model this self-love, right?
Mm.
How are the girls going to know if they don't see us modeling it? Karen, I'm 70 years old. I'm the grandmother of Girls United by Love. I call myself the grandmother, not the mother of it, because this this is a mission that I want to see spread. This is a movement. And so I just want everyone to take it to heart and start just finding ways with our, probably with the affirmations that we're going to talk about, maybe a great way just to start helping um, love ourselves better.
Okay, well, that sounds awesome. And tell our listening audience again, how can they connect uh, with you, and how can they register for the Girls United by Love virtual summit this weekend?
So there's Eventbrite, but if they just go to the website that I'm going to give you, which is just www.girlsunitedbylove, GirlsUnitedBylove.com. That'll take you to the landing page where you can see more about the speakers. I even have, if anyone's interested, each speaker's name is linked to a little um, information about them and why you want to be there to hear their talk. And there are QR codes that links to the registration on Eventbrite. And so is this Thursday, I mean this Saturday at 7, I'm getting crazy now. 7th of October, 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Correct.
Yes, on Zoom. So they'll get the Zoom link. They need to register to get the Zoom link. So I hope that people will do that today. The Zoom link is going out tomorrow, which is Friday.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, I tell you what I certainly will do is I will put that link at the bottom of this video so people can register. And thank you so much for coming to talk to us and tell us a little bit more about Girls United by Love. I definitely want you to come back and talk more about your book and all this. You said something about Tuesdays. You do something on Tuesday. So yeah, I want to get back connected with you and learn more about that and learn more about, what the significance is for Harriet Tubman and what is the one thing that our young women can take from her life and apply it to theirs.
Before we go, just let me add that because I'm glad you
Please do.
said that because I feel like Harriet Tubman was a little slave girl born 200 years ago. How is it that we know her name? How is it that we even know that she existed? It's because that little girl had to have that love in herself. That's the only way that she would have felt that she deserved to be treated well, to have a better life. And that love that she had for herself also fed her compassion. Because once she found herself free, she could not live in joy and happiness, knowing that her family was still in the slavery. And so that is the significance, is that person, that one person can change the lives of so many. And with that action that she did, she left a legacy that I continue to carry on. And, she's being honored by one day being on our $20 bill. That little slave girl who had that love for herself is was what it took.
That's just awesome. It is. It's awesome. And it also shows what we talked about earlier is that once she had that self love for herself and she knew her worth, she was willing to now help others
Yes,
get that same freedom. And I
yes,
think that's what we all, no matter what we go through, when we allow God to use all of those broken pieces and dark places, um, he can get the glory and he can make the changes in the people that he needed to make in them and just using us as a vessel to do it. So
thank
I
you.
just love that analogy, and we'll have to come. You'll have to come back, and we'll have to talk more.
Okay, great. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much again. October the 7th is coming Saturday, and it starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Follow the link at the bottom to get information about Mrs. Karol Brown, Girls United by Love, and the virtual experience that will be taking place this coming Saturday. Thank Thank you so much. And
Thank
God bless you. And I look forward to talking with you soon.
thank you so much. I appreciate it.